Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Girl on Fire. Um, as you can see, I'm not at home, hence the weird background. I'm at my office right now. And unfortunately, I chose to wear a sweatshirt with my work logo on it. And I didn't think it was appropriate to advertise it. So I went into the construction drawer. And as you can see, I'm looking very feminine today with my blue zigzags, and it's taped on. So if it falls off, pretend like you didn't see anything. I'm not trying to call attention to my breast by any means. Okay, so I'm just letting people know this is what's going on. So, but I digress. Today, I have with me someone I've known for a while, actually, online, I guess you could say, but um, Lise MacTague, who is a fellow lesbian author. She usually writes a different genre than me, but this time she actually wrote a straight up romance, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Today, we are going to do a hot sauce, and she is somewhat of a virgin concerning hot foods. So I took to Amazon and I tried to find something that I didn't think would be overly hot, but just enough uncomfortable to make it interesting. So I hope I did that. The name of the sauce is called Red Belly. It's a tomato based sauce. It has habanero peppers, apple cider vinegar, water and salt, and garlic. So it's pretty simple. It's either going to be really tasty or really nasty. I don't know. I've not had a sauce with habanero peppers in it before. And I don't think that's a really hot pepper that I can recall. So I could be wrong. We could be in for a surprise. We'll see. So, but that's the sauce we're trying today. So, Lise, are you gonna do spoon it? Are you gonna put it on a chip? What are you gonna do?
Got my tortilla chips ready to go.
Oh, okay,
I'm trying to
okay,
find one that's going to hold it, but not too much.
okay. Yeah, a little dab will do you. I got my plastic spoon. I'm not at home, guys, so I didn't bring my shot glass to the office with me. Sorry. So I got the plastic spoon. If I was eating my lunch, I would have put it on my salmon to see if I could dress it up a little bit, but it was like a maple bourbon salmon. I don't think the hot sauce would have gone well with that.
Yeah, that's a lot of flavors going on.
Yeah,
there.
that's a little bit too much. Okay, so let's give it a try.
So I'm going to give it a good shake first.
It smells okay. It smells very tomatoey. I'm going to shake mine too. Oops.
It's got a little bit of like smokiness too, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It looks kind of like it's going to be a thicker sauce. Let me move it over this way. Something's splattering on this archaic computer. It's kind of thick. I got a nice little dollop here. I'm afraid it's going to be nasty. I don't want nasty things in my mouth. So I'm only doing a little bit. I'm not scared of the heat. I'm just afraid of the taste. I have not been lucky in the taste department lately. So bottom up. Mm-hmm. That's different.
Yep.
I like it. I like the smokiness. I like that. It's got a little tang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of sour. It's spicy. It's not making my ears itch, so.
Yeah, it's not overly spicy. It's just got a little bit of a kick. So the more you use it, the hotter it's going to be. But it's a quick burn. It doesn't last. So for taste, it's very unique. There's a smokiness in it. I'm not sure where that comes from exactly. But I like the taste. So I'm going to give it a 7 for taste. For heat, I'll probably give it maybe a 4.5, 5 or something like that. Maybe. So what do you think, Lise?
Well, I'm going to give it an 8 for heat because, as you've noted, I am I'm a giant wuss face when it comes to hot stuff. My mouth is still tingling. So, but it's gone past painful and is now just like, we're excited in the taste buds. I like the taste though. Like I
Me
would give it probably
too.
a 7.
Yeah, it's a unique taste. I didn't expect that. I usually don't like tomato-based hot sauces because that's usually all you can taste is the tomato. And that's what makes it kind of putrid. Ugh. I like tomatoes and everything. But yeah, so
This
you're
would be good in a mac
generally,
and cheese, I think.
oh, you know what? That that's a good idea. That's a good idea. It would be good on chicken too. If I ate chicken, I don't eat chicken anymore. Pork maybe too. Um, but you are a wuss in the heat department.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Well, you know, I did
So
grow up in Canada, and Canadian cooking is not known for its heat.
really,
Oh yeah.
do they have any kind of spice in Canadian cooking?
Gravy? Is gravy a spice?
I guess it can be. I mean, if you use it to dress it up, whatever.
Well, you know, I mean, what? I think Canadian cooking is known mostly for poutine. So,
See, I've had that. Maybe I just haven't had it from the right place before. And here she goes with the milk. Everybody, she's drinking milk
yep.
over what I consider a 4 sauce. So, but yeah, I've tried that before. Maybe I just haven't had the right gravy or something with it. But I'm just like, it's okay. I can see the appeal though. I could definitely see the appeal. You got your meat, you got your cheese, you have gravy, and all that stuff. I could see the appeal definitely. So, but you were telling me off camera that you've been trying to work your way up to being able to take in heat. So what have you been doing to do that?
Well, I mean, mostly it's sriracha and just increasing the dose on our meals. I'm really the wimp of the family when it comes to tolerating hot sauce. I mean, our son will like practically eat it straight out of the bottle.
Oh, I like him.
And
already.
he puts like so much in that it like dyes everything that, sriracha red. My wife really likes heat, and it used to be that I could tolerate more than our daughter, but these days she's surpassed me. So I'm playing catch up. But yeah, it's just, putting more in and taking it to that edge of what I can tolerate and then adding more next time.
Well, yeah, I had to do that at the beginning. I mean, because while I'm used to hot stuff, I wanted to work my way up to a Reaper sauce. So I was, steadily, and that's initially why I started these videos and stuff, because I was gonna do a hotter sauce like every week to work myself up to Reaper, which is, the hottest pepper in the world. So that's what I did when I was just putting the videos on Facebook. So I eventually got to the Reaper, but the sauce ended up being a sweet sauce. But it was really good. And I still have some left. It's really good on waffles. Like if you put like a fruit compote or something on just a plain waffle, sprinkle a little bit. It has some sweetness and this weird heat. Oh, it's really good. It's really good.
I have never considered adding spiciness to my breakfast food.
Yes. And I was just like, oh. And so I tried it and it was like it worked out well. So and hence, I started this rabbit hole toward YouTube, and here we are today. So now I just, do various sauces. Some of them are really bad, and some of them turn out to be pretty damn good. So yeah. So, and I still have some Reaper sauces up on my in my office at home. I have a little shelf that my wife built me. She's the tinkerer in the family. That has my hot sauces. So I still have some Reaper sauces I'm hoping to get to eventually. But I'm also hoping that I get somebody that's willing to try them on the show at the same time, so we can have the both both do the same sauce. I think that would be really cool. I haven't met anybody that's willing to do that yet, but we'll see.
hit me up in a few years and we'll see if
Okay.
I've advanced my tolerance to
We'll
be able
see.
to not have it just melt through my mouth and
We'll
out the
see.
bottom of my
Yeah.
chin.
Yeah. So we'll see. So I'm putting a challenge out for any author that's willing to take it on. It could be fun. We could both be screaming at the same time, and it won't be in pleasure. It could be fun. You never know. But anyway, okay. So you have a new book coming out.
I do
Mm-hmm.
in like less than 2 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get my button gear.
Yes, you do. You got to do your marketing and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us the title and tell us a
My
little bit
least
about the book.
favorite part of the writing process.
The marketing?
Oh, I just happen to have one. Oh, I'm terrible at marketing. It gives me like collywobbles, like butterflies in my stomach.
Really?
Yeah. I hate talking about my stuff.
Huh. I love talking about my stuff. But anyway, that's just me. But show us the cover.
So here it is.
Mm-hmm.
This is Breaking Out, and it is a contemporary ice hockey romance. And my first marketable title. Yay!
When you say marketable, tell us about that, because this is not what you usually write, like, at all.
No. My typical fare is spec fic. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a space opera series. I've written a steampunk, and I'm working on a paranormal series. I'm 2 out of 3, possibly 4 books into that one.
Okay.
And yeah, I never thought I would write a contemporary romance. That just hadn't really been on my radar. And then I started thinking about, but what about hockey?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, I like writing action. I mean, that's what I really enjoy about
you
all the
really do well
stuff.
with that too. You really do
Thanks.
well with that. But yeah, I mean,
there's
it was
so
like,
much action in hockey. So
yes, there is, and I've never watched a hockey game in my life. So I just don't. To me, it's kind of like golf.
Interesting.
Why would somebody want to sit there and watch? I mean, it's just, maybe if you were there, probably being there in person is, a whole different thing. So
yeah, it also helps to have someone who can like tell you what's going on in the ice, because like any sport, there are rules that you don't know why they just did that, because it looks like everything else that just happened, only they stopped play.
Yeah, so like what why is he over there, and what happened, and a penalty for what now? Yep. So yeah, that helps. So I mean, so you just got this bee in your bonnet to write a contemporary romance.
Yeah, well, you know how it is, right? I mean, like some stories you got to work on, and some stories just demand to be told. And this was one that had been kind of gnawing at the back of my head for a while. And I finished Hunter's Descent, which is the second book in my paranormal series. And that one was kind of heavy. And I tried writing the sequel to it, but it was just like, I needed something light, like a palate cleanser. And it was like, well, this hockey book has been sort of bouncing around in my brain. And so I started working on that and got really excited about it. And I think I started it for NaNoWriMo last year.
Oh, well, really?
2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was able to get the first half of the book, chopped out then, and then finished it out after that.
Do you usually write so quickly?
It depends, honestly. I mean, NaNoWriMo kind of forces me to.
It does.
Yeah. Usually, if I'm in a good space, which 2020 has not been, but if I'm in a good space and I'm working and I'm like working, like I try to do every weekday and then give myself the weekends off, I can usually get between 25 and 30,000 words.
Wow, that's impressive. Can you come knock on my door and stand behind me and say, right, damn it, right? I mean, it's just like, it's right there. And I have been tinkering. I've been tinkering. And it's right there. It just doesn't want to come out. And I'm not sure what the distraction is. But I'll get there eventually. I know it'll come eventually. But yeah, so this is, I have to say, I do have you sent me autographed books of your other your series. So I have those.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I have not read through all of them, but I do like the way you do action. And I have to say, you do really well with transforming that into this book as well.
Mm.
So, like I believe I told you in email that, you know, just you describing the hockey games and stuff, it made me feel like I was there. And, you know, like I actually understood what was going on. Like, you know, like, oh, okay, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, and you did it in an effortless way to where it didn't bog down anything. So, and I think that's
Good.
ultra important, because when you're doing, and it wasn't in a form of an info dump, it was in a form of, you know, just these characters conversing and being around each other, and you getting a feel for them. You did a very good job at that, you know. So, and I'm telling her she did a good job at this, people, because I was actually her sensitivity reader for the book, which I thought was an excellent book. It was funny. It was heartfelt. In fact, there were parts that made me laugh, laugh out loud, which is not an easy thing to do. Um, she did a just a really good job of not making it overly angsty. While there is some angst there, it doesn't go deep with it. It's just enough, I think, just to provide some, not just obligatory drama, but it's understandable drama, I guess you could say. So you do a really good job with that.
Yeah.
Um, in this book, you depict kind of well, not kind of, a multicultural romance. So when you were coming up with the idea for this book, did you already know that one of your main characters was going to be Black?
I knew that one of the people on my hockey team was going to be Black, which was important for me because, I mean, we've almost always had one or two women on our team who were Black when I played in Milwaukee. So a love story, a love note to the hockey team that I left behind when I played in Milwaukee. We do have some hockey here in North Carolina, and I have gotten to play, not right now, obviously, but you know, I played with a rec team, and we went and we played travel hockey, and I really miss parts of that. And so in a lot of ways, and I'm not going to say that this is like an exact analog of the teams that I played on, it's not, but I like to pull bits and pieces here and there. And one of the things that people are always surprised about is, you know, everyone always remarks when you see a Black woman playing on another team. It always seems really weird to a lot of us wonder-bred white folks from Wisconsin.
Really? Why? I don't get that. Because I just figured that any sport was fair game, and it wouldn't be that unusual to see a Black person or a person of color, of any color, on any sports team. But I guess it depends on you know, where you grew up, how isolated you've been, you know, and all that stuff, you know. So yeah.
And
so
hockey hockey is very white. It's less so than it used to be, but it's still very white. And it's probably one of the sports that has the highest barrier to entry for people to get into. You know, you need to be able to spend, as a parent for your kids, you need to be able to spend a shit ton of, I'm sorry, can we swear?
Oh gosh, say whatever the fuck you want. Yeah.
You have to be willing and able to spend a shit ton of money and time on this sport. And you know, I mean, all that equipment costs money, and you have kids who are growing like weeds. You got to keep buying that equipment over and over and over again. So yeah, it's just really difficult to get into if it's not something that, you know, you already have like a background or a culture that says it's important. So
okay.
But yeah, so I mean, starting out, I knew I was going to have a Black player on my team. And then, you know, the more I was like noodling on it, like just sort of turning the idea and the plot and the characters over in my brain, eventually I just came to the realization that it's like, you know what, she's got to be one of my mains. You know, this is a small town. There's some, you know, potential for conflict that's built in, because even though it's a small town that I wanted to be really welcoming, it's still, you know, central Pennsylvania. So, yeah, and you know, I think it's important that our stories reflect the world around us. Yes, and I don't necessarily know that. Yeah, I didn't want to write a book that would possibly, you know, take away from an author of color being able to tell that story. But I thought this one, being a hockey story, it was pretty safe that I would be able to, you know, tell the story, have it reflect what I've experienced, and tell an engaging story at the same time.
Okay. So were you in, now that you said you didn't want to take away from, you know, another author wanting to tell that story, were you nervous or in anything, you know, to do that at all?
Yeah, I mean, we're in a time where there's just a lot of discussion, and rightly so, you know, about who tells whose stories, you know, and I'm very aware that I am not a person of color. You know, I mean, you know, I looked up my shirt and I'm fish belly white. So, you know, it's difficult. And I wanted, if I was going to do it, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to do my research. I'm going to reach out to the right people, which is why I, you know, brought you and Andy Marquette, who we both work with, recommended you when I went to her and was like, hey, you know, so I'm telling this story and I really need a sensitivity reader because I do not want to mischaracterize one of my main characters. You know, we've had decades and decades to do that. Let's move on.
You know, with the stereotypes and everything. And I thought you did a really good job of not going there. I mean, to me, her character was an individual in her own right. And I think the biggest thing and the biggest worry people of color have when you know, let's say somebody of, you know, somebody white writing about their type of character or their type of individual, is that they don't want them to try to write about that experience they know nothing about. You did not do that. I think you did very well by being careful of not doing that. It was more of a snapshot of an individual. It wasn't like you create, and I hate to say this because I know how it's going to sound, but I think people will be able to piece it together. I think it went past, okay, oh, I have these two characters, I've written them, and now I'm going to make one of them Black. You know what I mean? By not having them being an individual, not having anything that stands out that's different. You know, even though we're all human beings and there's some sameness, there's some difference as well. And we have to be careful to show that difference as we see it, but not dip in too far to an area that, you know, that you may not understand or know nothing about. But I think you did a good job of, oh, you know, she said she's apart from all the other characters. She stands out in a good way. In a good way. It's not like you just painted somebody's skin and stuck her in there. You did a good job, in other words. And I've told you that, you know, in fact, I don't remember even having a lot of notes. I think there was maybe 3 or 4 notes for the whole book, you know, so.
Yeah, there were a few, and I took them all to heart because one thing I'm good at is taking feedback, dang it.
Yes, we have to be.
And well, especially on something like this, where I mean, it's easy as a white person to get it wrong. And it would also be easy to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to do that anyway, no matter what
no
you
matter
said.
what, because this is my
Mhm.
baby, and
Yeah. But
yes.
I mean, this is too important to not just sort of weigh all of that, I
And
think.
I just think, not to give, I mean, it is a romance, so not to give, the bigger piece away. I just think you did a good job of what I've been saying all along. It When it comes to romance, and there's so many people out there who say, "Oh, I want diversity, I want diversity," but when they get it, maybe it's a little bit too diverse for
Mm.
them, or what they see is too diverse. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to identify with that. The whole thing is you can identify with your paranormal stuff if you can identify with the what was that book, the book where the she was hunting, was it werewolves or demons or something like that?
Oh, Demon in the Machine,
Yes.
my steampunk. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, if you can identify with that, and I mean, to me, there's, like I said, there's a sameness in the
Mm-hmm.
differences. We, in every book, whether it's Black, Chinese, Latino, I mean, whatever, we meet, we fall in love, we have our happily ever after. There's not that big of a, I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that big of a thing. Is there some cultural stuff involved? Sure, sure. But when it gets down to it, the core of it is we meet, we fall in love, we have happily ever after.
Yeah.
The same, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
you
it's
know,
about all of that happens in the context of each character
mm-hmm,
and who they are, what they want, and what their backgrounds are. That's
exactly.
what I'm always trying to keep in my mind. It's like, okay, this thing happened. How is everyone going to react because of what they're bringing to the table?
Mm-hmm, exactly. So yeah. So is there anything else you want to say about the book?
Um, I'm really proud of it. It's something very different for me, and it was a lot of fun to write,
Mm-hmm.
which was good because the book I wrote before it, while I'm proud of that one also, was just a lot harder for
Mm.
me to get through as a writer. I mean, you know what that's like. Every one of
Yes.
these is different. This is number
Yes.
7, and the writing experience has not been the same for any of them.
Hmm. Everyone is different. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They all have
Yeah.
their different hangups. They all flow in different places and
Mm-hmm.
bog down in others. Um, but yeah, I think this is, well, it'll be interesting to see how people respond to it since it
Mm-hmm.
is so different. And heck, maybe I'll get some readers that I can introduce to spec as a
Yeah.
result.
You never know. You never
Yep,
know. Oh, and another little tidbit, you have a kid in this book.
I do.
A
Yes.
very cute kid. I like him. Yeah, he's adorable. Yeah, he's
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of times I think, oh, and I've read a lot. Well, I've not read a lot of books lately, but I've read a lot of books in the past where authors will put a kid in there. Either they'll be irritating,
Mm,
or it'll be the smartest damn 5-year-old you've ever met, or the
right.
most mature 5-year-old you're ever met. Yours is spot on. Yeah, I mean, it's like he's a little weird. I mean, he's a little irritating. He's sweet. I mean, he gets excited about, so I mean, it's like, it's pretty spot on. I mean, so it's just like, to me, he's another strong character in the book.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you did a really good job with that.
Yeah, well, I wanted to avoid, like you often also in books when you have characters who have animals,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you see the animal once, and then apparently they've just died in the
Mm-hmm.
background because you never hear from them again.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to do that with, well, either the dog in the book or the kid in the book. They're both
Mm-hmm.
really important parts of the plot and the story, and both of them, are important to motivations for different
Yes. Yes,
characters.
they are. Yes, they are.
In fact, the dog is a very important motivator for Lawrence, the
Yes.
Adrian's son. So,
Yes.
yeah, I don't think that I could have written Lawrence the way I did before, I moved in with my wife and being with her kids. Because when we got together, her kids were right around that age that I.
So you had a lot of experience.
Yeah. Write what you know, right?
Yeah, I when I met my wife, her son was teenager, I want to say 12, 13. So he'd already gotten past that, right on into the rebellious, horrible teenage years. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, and it's been that way for everybody, unfortunately, so but yeah, so yeah, you did a good job with that. So okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
what is
Yeah.
do you have the exact date that the book is going to be released?
I do. Wait, I mostly do. I think it's the 18th, but it could be the 16th. I should know that.
You should, because I'm going to put a graphic at the end of this video with the date and with the cover of the book and everything on it.
Well, what's throwing me is that originally it was going to be out on the 11th. And then it got pushed back. So I've had it as the 11th, and it was the 11th until a few weeks ago. But the 16th is the publication date now. Okay. So, yeah.
I'm going to remember. In fact, I'm going to write that down so I can put it on the 16th. Okay. All right. So at the end of all these videos, I like to ask the authors, if they have a little story they want to share. It can be something pithy, something funny, something educational, whatever you want it to be. Do you have something you want to share with us?
Well, you said you were looking, it could be horrifying, it could be funny.
I've whatever you want to share.
Both.
Yeah.
So I don't know if many people know this, but my mom is one of my beta readers.
What?
Yeah.
That's not weird at all.
No, especially since I write explicit sex scenes.
Wait a minute, did she read the most recent book?
Oh, she's read all of them.
Oh my, yeah, because you get a couple of hot scenes in there. Yes. Oh my gosh. That's interesting.
And you have not lived until your mom starts grilling you on the blocking in your sex scene. Like, is it really possible for that? Like, I was like, you can read them. I do not want to hear what you think about my sex scenes. Because the very first book I sent her way, I'm like, you can ignore chapters like 16 and 32. And she was like, if I'm going to beta read this for you, I'm going to beta read this for you. And I was like, okay, they're explicit. She was like, I'm an adult. I know you have sex. And I was like, well, I know that. But
did she put like notes in the margin and stuff like that? What does this mean? And can this really happen? And, oh my God.
And I told her, I was like, don't bother to give me notes in the sex scenes. I mean, you can. I'm not reading them.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine. I know when my mom was alive, she used to tell me, she says, oh, I'm so proud of you for, doing the writing and everything. And I remember the last time I saw her, she was, I want to say, when I got married, a couple of years. How long has it been? It's been about 3 years. It's been about 3 years, I think. And she told me before she and my sister and my nieces came down, she's like, oh, you have to give me copies of your books. And I was like, why? She said, just so I can have them. She says, I may want to, read something. I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. I really don't think that's a good idea. She says, well, fine. And I can just have them and put them on my little, she used to have this, this big, I don't know, this big cabinet. I guess you could call it me and my sister's, not wall of shame, but wall of fame, whatever you want to call it, where it had our school pictures, our senior pictures, and our little awards and all that stuff. So she was like, I'll put it in the cabinet with all the rest of the stuff. And I was like, okay. So I mean, to this day, I don't know if she really started reading any of them or not. I mean, some of them are more risque than others. I mean, I guess it depends, but I don't think she did, but yeah, I don't, oh my, I cannot even imagine. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a trip.
Oh, oh my God. Well, thank you for
I'm really
sharing all
thankful
that
that she did that though, because she's been doing editing most of her life. So it was
I was
like
going to
really
ask
helpful.
you about that. Like, so she's an editor.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's edited mostly sort of more technical and academic stuff, but there's nothing wrong with her proofreading, and she's really good at being like, hey, you dropped this thread here, never picked it up. So
okay. Oh, it's got to be neat to have like a built-in editor. So like when you turn your stuff in, you have a pretty clean copy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that must be nice. That must be
nice. I think Medora appreciates it, because then we can get into like the meat of it, like what's really going wrong here.
Yeah, I don't even care about that stuff. It's like I'm like, I write it, I have the beta readers, they do what they can. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't give a fuck if a comma was supposed to be there, a semicolon. Somebody will pick it up eventually and go like, okay, that was supposed to be there, and it should be this word instead of this. Somebody will pick it up eventually. So it's just like I don't even. But it would be nice to have a built-in editor where I could do less work later. That would be nice. But see, I would have to pay someone. I don't really know anybody. So anyway, thanks for joining me. And everybody go buy this book. I'm telling you, it is a good read. You're looking for something different from what she's written before, you'll have it. It's I wouldn't call it a sweet romance. It's not overly sweet. And it's not overly realistic. It's somewhere in the middle. It's a very enjoyable read. I think it's funny, it's heartfelt, it has some action with the hockey and everything. And even if you don't know anything about hockey, by the time you finish reading this book, you'll understand what they're doing. Trust me on that. So everybody, on February 16th, get this book, okay? And what I'm gonna do at the end of this video, I'm gonna post a link and a cover and everything, so you can go pre-order. It's on for pre-order, right? On your publisher's website.
Yeah, both Bella and Amazon have it available.
Okay,
for
so
pre-order.
I'll put pre-order links and everything up, so you guys can go buy this book. Okay, all right. This is KD. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Girl on Fire. I have another guest coming up sometime soon. I don't know who it is yet. It's one of two people. So I'll see you when I see you.